So I apologize for having to break this up into two parts, but the screencaster application that I'm using costs money if I break it up, and I'm not doing that. So when we left off, I set up this construction line here that is 1/2 inch down from the top of our shape. So that's to set up this line that goes across. Okay, now we need to figure out how to draw this cutout. This is probably the most complicated part of the shape. So we have to really look closely to figure this out. Okay, so we know where this corner is. That is where this line that's 3/4 of an inch in is. So let's figure out where that line is. That line is here. This is the construction line that goes with it. You go to the miter line. This is the construction line that goes with the horizontal construction line. And where that intersects our top line, that is where our line will start. So I'll go to line, I'll hit enter, I'll click here, and I'll go off this way. Now I know that my angle is 60 degrees from horizontal. So I need to type in here, 20, hit enter, and then I can trim this up. That line is the proper length. And then what I can do is I can mirror this line to the other side. And if I do it right, this line should cut through here, which it does, and end at the construction line at the bottom, which it does. Okay, and then I will click line again and connect the bottom of these two. And I'm almost done with this indent. There's just one more thing I need to do. I need to get rid of this little section of line that's up top here. So I'm going to take trim, hit enter, and get rid of this guy. There we go. Now, if you're unsure about any of these measurements, I recommend going up here and measuring. Like this looks a little bit long to me, so I want to select it and just make sure it's 3/4 of an inch, which it is. Good. Now for my hidden lines. I specifically did not have you guys draw the hidden lines in the beginning. And the reason is it's a lot easier to get the object lines first and project from them. For example, I know there's a hidden line that goes here, but it's easier to just draw the object line here first that projects to it. Same thing, I know there should be a hidden line for this cutout in my top view, but I'm not really sure exactly where it is. It's going to line up with this corner here that we just formed, because we don't actually get a measurement in this direction for where that is. But we do find this corner in our right side view. So what we can do is we can actually project across the miter line and back to my top, through my top view, and know exactly where that hidden line should be. So that's what I'm going to do. Construction line, draw vertical construction lines here, and then draw horizontal construction lines where those vertical construction lines cut through. Okay. Now what we're going to do, what I'm going to ask you guys to do, is to just, oh, actually I need to do a construction line here as well, because I'm going to have a hidden line in my front view for this cutout here. Now what I'm going to ask you guys to do is to just draw lines, regular lines where hidden lines should be. And I'm going to show you how to modify them in a moment so that they appear as hidden lines. Okay, now that I've drawn all those, these construction lines have gotten really crazy. There are so many of them. Let's make them invisible. So I'm going to go over here and turn them off. Much better. So we need to make all of these lines hidden lines. So That's not going to be possible for us right away. There's a couple of modifications we need to make to our program in order to make hidden lines possible. We need to first access this menu that I have visible here. Here's how we do it. Type in layer, hit enter, and what this does is it shows us the two layers that we've been working in so far. We have our plain layer, line type is construction line, as a continuous line, and the color is white. And then we have our construction line, which we've of course turned off, its visibility off. And the color is red, and the line type is an AM construction line. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on the line type here, and we're going to have some options. You may have more than me, you may have less. If you will most likely have only 2 or 3 visible lines here. So what you need to do is you need to go to load, and you need to hit Control A on your keyboard in order to select everything. There are all these different types of lines that we can use that are used for all different types of things. There's even like a gas line, so if someone's designing a house and they're trying to put in a gas line, they can represent it, a hot water supply. So we're going to select everything and load it. Go to load, select everything, and hit OK. And it's going to bounce this error at you for any lines that are like being loaded twice. So I'm just going to hit reload all selected line types, and then I'll hit OK. Once I've done this, I've made all these different line types available to me, including hidden lines. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select, starting with a line that I want to make a hidden line. I'm going to right click on that line, and I'm going to go to properties. And I'm going to get this little box that pops up. I'm going to make it a little bigger so we can see what's going on here. And I want to adjust the line type here. So I'm going to click line type, and I'm going to get this drop down of all these different lines that I can change my line to. I can make it look like this. I can make it really cool stuff. The one I'm looking for is a hidden one. So I'm going to scroll down. It's in alphabetical order to hidden. I can either make it hidden or hidden 2. Hidden 2 has slightly smaller hidden lines where the dashes are smaller. So it really depends on the size of what you're doing. Let's use hidden here. And that modified that line to be a hidden line. Now what I can do is I can actually select all the remaining hidden lines I have. All 3 of those. So I just clicked. I didn't need to press Control or anything. I can right click and go to properties and do the same thing I just did. Go to line type and scroll down to get hidden or hidden 2. I'll do hidden. And voila, those are all done. And there is our shape. Now there's an additional thing I wanted to show you. I wanted to show you what it would look like if you added a hole to the dovetail finger, because if you look at the assignment that's posted for today, that goes off of this lesson, it's one where there is a hole involved. So you're going to need to know how to represent that hole in all 3 of our principal views. So let's imagine for a second that there is a hole in the top of this shape that goes all the way through the object. We're not going to worry too much about the position of that hole for now, because, well, I'm just modeling for you what it would look like, and the position is not really super important. So let me first restore my construction lines, and I'll put a circle right here. And this circle is going to represent a hole that goes all the way through. Now, when we drew freehand sketches and we had holes, we would do projections for them into the other views in order to show them as hidden lines, to show hidden lines for it. So because this hole goes all the way through, there are going to be hidden lines for it in the front view, and there are going to be hidden lines for it in the right side view. Let me actually make it a little smaller so that we can't use any of the projection lines that already exist for this shape for our hole. So I'll make this 0.2 inches in radius, 0.4 in diameter. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw some construction lines. I'm going to do vertical construction lines for the outermost edges of the circle horizontally, and then the same thing vertically. So where I have those construction lines vertically, I will have two hidden lines right here. Horizontally, my construction lines go. You can zoom in and select them so that you know exactly which ones you're working with. So we're working with this one and this one. And we'll draw construction lines vertically through those 2 points where those intersect the miter line. And then we know in our right side view, we're going to have hidden lines right here. Just like before, I'm going to select these lines that I want to make hidden. Right click on them, go to properties, and make the line type hidden. Again, I'll make the construction lines not visible so we can check up on things. Okay, we have our hidden lines set up. Now for our center lines, we can type center mark, click on our circle, and we get our center lines. But I actually also need center lines in my front view and my right side view for this hole. So the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to use a command called centerline. Now, this is a little bit different from the centerline command you'll find in your ribbon. So we type in centerline. And the way this command works is it allows us to select two lines, and it'll auto-generate a centerline right in between them. So I'm going to select these two hidden lines, and it generates a centerline halfway between them. Now you'll notice this centerline does extend in both directions, but because it is such a short centerline, the center of it is overlapped by the other parts of the line, so we don't get our nice break. So we're going to take this length here, and we're going to extend it. We're going to make it a little bit longer. We're going to make it 1/2 inch so that it extends in both directions and we don't have any issues. Okay, and there are our two center lines. You can see the breaks really easily. So here's our finished shape with a hole going through it. As a reminder, just to review it again, whenever you have a hole in one of the views, you will get a circle in that view, center mark that goes with it, center lines that go with it, and in the other two views, you will have hidden lines and one center line that goes vertically, not two, because the hole is going in this direction. That's what the center line is indicating, the direction of the hole, the direction of the hole. That's why it's there. It doesn't go in both directions because the hole is not going into the page. It's going down the page here and down the page here. But over here, it actually is going in, which is why we have two center lines to form a center mark. So that's it for today. Please use these lessons, apply the skills used here in order to complete plate number 3. And I'll see you guys for another lesson on Wednesday.